I mean, I had him on the show when air raid sirens are going, and he's off the air. And he's there going, they're killing black people everywhere, mowing them down on the streets. You know, they're taking over. 3 months later, LA Times, New York Magazine, all of them. Oh, yeah, they line them up and shoot them in the head or hack their heads off with machetes. They're like, it's liberal. Give your rights up, support world government or you hate black people. But murder them and you're liberal. And again, love Al-Qaeda, murder black people. It's trendy. Fight Al-Qaeda by putting Al-Qaeda in charge. This is the complete psycho, out of control, crazy garbage that I'm talking about. I'm not that smart, folks. This is all common sense in your face. All you've got to do is start paying attention to how crazy this is, and now they're about to do it again. Now they've got Al-Qaeda. NBC reported 2 weeks ago what we already knew. Al-Qaeda attacking and blowing up bases and assassinating people and throwing magnet mines onto people's cars all over Iran and killing them, trying to get Iran to respond militarily. And then our news tells us, but Iran works with Al-Qaeda. But Al-Qaeda actually works with the criminals that run our government and is attacking Iran and attacking Syria. And now they're going to start the love bombs again. And Congress isn't needed. The UN isn't needed now. Now it's just going to be the bankers themselves. Oh, we can't get a fake UN approval. We can't get congressional approval because we won't go to them and act like they're actually the boss. We won't even say where it's coming from. And we won't even call it a war. You see, I told you, there's no gun control. We don't want to take your guns. And as soon as we said, you do want to take our guns, and got the reports of them saying we're bitter clingers and they're going to get our guns. As soon as we said, no, you are trying to take them, everybody woke up. Now their gun grab is in deep trouble everywhere. Gun laws are being reversed everywhere. Okay, real gun control of hitting the target is now coming in. It's the same thing on world government. They denied world government existed forever and made fun of us and attacked us and demonized anybody that talked about it. Doesn't work anymore. World government's now out in the open. And this whole Al-Qaeda hoax, when the CIA created it, used it against the Russians, then the Serbs, on and on and on and on. Libya, Syria, Iran, Al-Qaeda, 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 Al-Qaeda. And the biggest, goofiest lie in the world is hiding in plain view. It's hiding completely in plain view in front of all of us that Al-Qaeda is a banker-controlled system. They want to invade a country, call Al-Qaeda freedom fighters, invade the nation. You want to take Americans' liberty, blow some stuff up, say Al-Qaeda's doing it. Have a few dual, agents you set up and kill. On and on and on. This is how they do it. And now they're going to start a new love bomb attack and blockades and other things that are acts of war and tell you it's not war. And you're supposed to go, oh, Karl Rove, says you control reality. So since you said pigs can fly, they must. Oh, look at that flying pig, honey. No, I'm calling their hoax. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Oh, let's get ready to coming to you live from the Jai-Alai Orlando Center to a capacity crowd of over 1,100 people, broadcasting worldwide via satellite, #1 on the internet, and transmitting across the globe. It's Alex Jones and the Info Warriors. Oh dear. And Marvin the Martian, coming in out of the red corner, a hardcore global communist eugenicist hell-bent on destroying the planet Earth. And in the blue corner, weighing over 65 trillion tons, the Colossus of Liberty, the people of planet Earth who will stomp Marvin the Martian into atomic dust. Oh dear. I didn't write up any comedy bit. I'm just having some fun here, ladies and gentlemen. It's good for me to get out there because I'm always there in the command bunker, walking around griping and firing info weapons at the enemy. It's good to actually be out here on the front lines with you, and I love you, and it's awesome. It was fun storming the Texas Capitol, not once but twice. It's like, it's impossible. That must not be real video of hundreds of people storming the Capitol. They would have arrested him. After all, he didn't have a permit. But see, government doesn't know how to deal with that. It's about this illusion that it's all powerful and you're scum. It's not true. The people have the power. I'm like a kid with a Mr. Microphone here today. You know, I actually do this at the office when I'm like voicing ads and stuff. So sometimes I'm sitting there kind of like going, this is fun, you know. I was like I'm a little kid again. All right, I'm going to stop it. Oh, boy. You got to try to have a little bit of fun sometimes, though, when they're trying to start World War III. And when these same interests that want to destroy Iran want to destroy the liberties and freedoms here in America, and they wrap their treason in patriotism, it's just flat wrong. Now, I've covered the fact that they're about to launch a new bombing campaign, but it's freedom, though, and it's not violent, because they said so. Remember, Karl Rove told the New York Times, Washington Post, and a whole bunch of other reporters at a cocktail party 6 years ago. They were bringing up lies to the administration. He said, it doesn't matter. We control reality. We are history's actors. We tell you what to say. You will then report that new reality. And they actually said, yeah, you're pretty much God. And he said, that's right. That's why I got your job. Well, see, I don't play like that. I'm sorry. I'm an extremist. You know, you lie to me, and I catch you lying, and you say, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to lie to you because I'm the authority figure. I say, get out of my way. It is pathetic. It is a mind game, and we have to stop trusting and supporting and groveling to the system. It is so pathetic. And without further ado, before I get into a global governance report of the greatest import, World Bank wants control 21 on every waterway, not just the oceans, to globally tax and control your water. And it's all the links to worldbank.org calling for global governance run by megabanks that you pay your money to. And these same groups then fund organizations to demonize you and say it doesn't exist. They have pure disdain for you, acting like these documents don't exist. But then they'll have the controlled right wing go, yeah, that UN trying to take over, we're going to fight them. Our government, run by the Federal Reserve, created the UN. It's creating the Law of the Sea Treaty and Agenda 21 to say it's another group and then criminally sign our authority and our law over to it. Like Obama says, I go to the UN now for war. Or I go to the UN for Agenda 21. Or your city goes to the UN for its zoning rules. You see, and they criminally transfer it over. But it's still illegitimate. I mean, it's so obvious that once we see how big the fraud is. I remember growing up and reading history books, that Hitler quote about the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. But he actually went on to explain, he was talking about communists and how they would do it, but he also did the big lie. He was saying, yes, the bigger the lie, it's so big that everybody buys into it on before, but I'm going to get informed, I'm going to get focused, I'm going to get angry, and I'm going to stand up against this because things get too horrible if you don't. And I'm trying to find the article here out of Canada. Here it is. Now, talk about groveling. And I want to try to get this guy on. I'm sure he's a nice fellow. Stick knife to spread butter. Or valedictorian loses diploma last day of school because had box of plastic and knives and forks in the front of her car. We've all seen those. Or child draws stick figure with gun, arrested. Okay? And you can read this article, the image of a slave even drawing a gun, and they go, ah, slave with a gun! Ah! That's what they're scared of. Ah! I mean, it'd be like in Rome 2,000 years ago. You walk out in the slave pen. One of them had a sword. Ah! It's the same thing. Or it'd be like in the South or something 200 years ago. They walked out, they're in the slave quarters, and they've got weapons uprising. Ah! I mean, that's what this is really all about. The British government was treating its subjects like slaves. 1776, they came to confiscate the guns. You can't have slave rabble with weapons. This is what our country was founded over. Continuing. The school principal, police, and child welfare officials, not servants, they're officials. You're an idiot slave citizen that pays their salary, However, listen, the school principal, police, and child welfare officials, who in the U.S. are 5 times more likely to abuse you than any other group, just ignore that, it's fine, no big deal then. All stand by their actions. Oh, they're proud of it. They said they had to investigate, determine whether there was a gun in his house that children had access to. Because if they'd seen one, my dad had a newspaper editor he went to college with, who I've known for many years, nice guy, works up in Dallas. If I said his name, anybody in Dallas will know who he is. And this is back when I was in college. They have a gun safe, and I was going deer hunting and shooting, and my guns were at my parents' house, and I just came walking through the house out and they were in the dining room, and he barely saw it, and I heard, and I was like, and he's like, and my dad's like, it's okay. It's like a Monty Python skit, or like the fish called Wanda, where the guy eats the fish, the guy stutters. And I walked in and I said, look, I'm going to the shooting range, it's unloaded. And he's like, get out, please. And I was like, no, listen, it's not that big of a deal. You want to hold it? Get over your fear. Look, it's unloaded. And I learned he pretty much freaked out and had to leave. But he sees a cop with a gun. He's like, the government with a gun, properly trained. So anyways, the whole article just goes on and on. And I think about these domesticated people. They love to send their wives and daughters out without guns. Raped, killed, they love it. It's like a sacrament of idiocy. We'll tell you more about this coming up, and a ton of other news and your calls and guests in here. We'll be right back from Orlando.